You start the Appcar DiagFCA process of doing a remote start hack on your Dodge Grand Caravan, you're probably gonna have a key like this. Maybe you don't have the side buttons and the thing, but it's not gonna have the remote start button here. And you're gonna need that. Most of them, I'm hearing, will have a clicker here anyways. It's just not labeled. For mine, I don't think there's not a clicker in there. I don't feel any clicks. So mine truly doesn't have it. So you have to buy another key that will have it, that has a click here. You can hear that. And I just bought this off of Amazon, link in the description below. And you'll need that. And I've already programmed this to start up my car. You can use the Appcar DiagFCA to program keys as well. So I use this to program the key. And then I just went to Home Depot to get the key inside cut. But yeah, you're gonna need this one with the clicking for the remote start before you start this process. Another thing you're gonna need is make sure you have this, what is it, OBSD2 scanner. And this one is recommended off of the Appcar website. This was the #1 that they recommended. So I have a Windows one. This is not a wireless one, so it connects directly to my laptop through USB. It's the V-Linker FS-USB. I think I got it for about $35 on Amazon, so I will link that as well below. This is what I'm using, and I think there's other OSBD2 scanners that you can use that will work with Appcar as well, but this one was the #1 listed. This is for a 2011 Dodge Grand Caravan. If you're trying to install the hood Ajar switch or go bypass with a 1K ohm connector, this is the spot right here. This is where the Ajar switch would go. So this is where you would find the connector to stick that 1K ohm in. And this is what it is. I'll link it in the description. It's right underneath the TIPM fuse box. I removed the battery just in case they find it. So I'm gonna put the battery in. Here's the battery, kind of back on. And this is the location of the module right there that you want to stick it in. So it definitely can be found without removing the battery, and it's right underneath the fuse box here. But if you're having trouble and you need to remove the battery, you can remove the battery with 10mm bolts here and here, both on the positive and the negative. So right there, and then you can slide it right out. So you just pop it off. And then this one, you would unscrew the screw right here, 10mm socket, pull it right off. And then down there, that screw is a 13mm socket that you can unscrew, and then this whole top plastic piece comes out. This kind of locks in the battery. And you would remove that, and then you'd be able to pull out the battery. So after you've now plugged in the 1K ohm resistor into that slot where the hood Ajar switch would have been as a bypass, you get out your OBD2 plug and find it in and plug it in. It should be right next to the the trunk lift. It'll be that part right there, and you're just gonna plug that in. It comes in a little. Just get it plugged in there, and now we'll make sure the USB side is gonna be plugged in. This is the Appcar website that will also give you the details on how to set up the remote start. Once you've plugged it in, you'll have to go through initial setup. This is not a video on how to set it up. It's just if you already have your car set up and now you want to do the remote start. First thing we can do is we got to connect to our car. I'm sorry, and you got to, of course, turn the car to the on position. So let's put a key in. Turn it to the on position. And now we can connect. Okay, now once you're all connected, if you follow the instructions on the website, it's going to tell you to go to programming and then look for something called TIPM configurations. But with the 1.7 update, and this is as of February, 23rd, 2024, it's not going to be in here anymore. You actually have to look for it specifically. Like if you go to engineering settings up here, you'll see that it'll tell you like if you want to do ECU configurations, you got to go to Diagnostics, TIPM, then module info. And then on the module info, you need to find what you're looking for, and there's an edit parameter, and I'll show you how to do that because it's not going to be the same as the website instructions. So if I go to Diagnostics, you're going to go here. For me, it's in this TIPM one. So let's run that diagnostic. And then the website tells you to go to, you're going to do reconfig #2 first. So you can do a search filter up here on the top. You do reconfig. Oops. And then you're going to go input #2. And you see mine already says hood Ajar switch. So what you have to do is you click on that, and then there's this little edit button right here on the side. You click that edit button, and then a new window will pop up. This one was originally set to not present. So what you'll do is you'll hit hood Ajar switch, click next, and then it'll start saving it to the ECU, or now you'll save, and that'll update your ECU, and then now that's it. Now what we'll do is we'll search for, let's see what the website says. Search for vehicle configuration 1 remote start. So I'll just start typing vehicle configuration 1, and we're looking for remote start, and mine is already set on set. But what you would do is it probably doesn't say set. You click that edit button on the side again, and then it'll probably say not set, so you just put it to set, and hit next. Wait for it to update, and then hit save, and save it to the ECU. Now you got to read the pin code to reset the WCM. So you can go back, WCM here, run diagnostics, and then you go to routines, and mine's just the very first one. Read pin code, run to get this pin code. This will allow you to set your key fobs. So you run that, routine's running, and then you get your code down here under this value, and then you write that down somewhere, memorize it. That way you know what the code is. So when you reset your process, you can you'll have the code to set up your keys. And now we're going to reset our Win configuration. Click this, go down here, click run, next, pin code, enter that pin code we had a while ago, and then hit run. Now it's resetting Win configuration. Successfully reset the Win. Next, it's finished. So now we'll go back to menu. And the car just made a noise. And now we have to program the new keys. Start going to the program key ignitions and key fobs, and this is if you need a new one. Mine's going to say failed because I've already programmed my key, but you hit run, and then it'll tell you the current number of keys. So for me, it'll stay 6, and if I program a new key, once it's completed, that value should go up to 7. I think you can only have 8 keys on a Dodge Grand Caravan. So mine's at 6. If I hit next, enter in your pin value code, and then you click next, and then it'll start programming on its own. You'll hear a ding. And then the value should turn to 7. Mine's going to say failed because I've already programmed this key, so I cannot program again. It's already programmed to the car. So there is the switch with the 1K ohm resistor. I want to put some electrical tape it down, and separate it so the 2 wires don't touch. In order for me to get easier access, I'm just going to remove the battery. I'm going to use a 10 millimeter here and here for the terminals, positive, negative terminal, and then you got that one right there, 13 millimeter. That's kind of like a locking mechanism to lock the battery in place. And now you have better access to work with the hood Ajar switch and taping it down. Okay, so here is the hood Ajar switch now with the 1K ohm resistor taped up. I put a piece of tape in between the 2 terminals, so in between it, and then to separate them, and then I folded it down because the sticks were kind of long, and then I taped everything up. Put a few layers of tape just to make sure everything's secured. Now I'll put the battery back in and test out the key fob. Okay, now that the battery is back in, got the key fob in hand, and we're going to test it. I don't actually have to close the hood for this hack because the the part there acts as if the hood is closed. So let's test it out and see if it works. Gotta push it twice. It auto locks, but it is not turning on. And that's okay. A few people have noted that in order for theirs to start, it wouldn't start in the first 5-10 minutes. They drive the car for 5 to 10 minutes and then come back home and test it. So that's what I'm going to do now. All right, I just drove it about 20 miles accidentally. I was just driving through the freeway, looped back around. So now we're going to test it. I already tested it and I confirmed that it is working now. So we're going to use the key fob that I actually programmed prior to setting up the remote start. So once you program it, even though you haven't set up remote start and you set up the remote start afterwards, it will still work. So you don't have to program the key again after you set up remote start. So you click this twice, you can hear the car, and there's the startup. And you can turn it off by clicking it twice as well. And I'm just going to confirm that with the other keys. Oops. Here's the other key that I programmed just to make sure that they're all working. Ooh, that one only locked it. Lock, lock. I wonder if you have to drive with the key to have it programmed, because this key with the tile is the one I was driving with, and that's the one that works. And the other key, like when I mean drive, like it was in the ignition driving. So this one was not, the one that's the spare one was not in the ignition. So I wonder if that's going to be the case. And actually, I did not have to drive in it. All I had to do was make sure I inserted this key into the ignition, and then I took it back out. And right after I just inserted it in and I took it out, it started working. The one on the key part. So it's definitely working now. And that's the process.